What's up, Panda Dudes? Peter from Panda here. Hey, got myself another cheap watch. This one is called the Green Cool Army Racing Force Military Officer Fabric Band Watch for Men, and it's under $5. I think I may be wrong, but I think some of these companies that make cheap watches are just trying to get you on keywords. So it was cheap. I thought I'd give it a shot. Kind of looked like a Swiss Army watch, and I'm not going to say it's copying Swiss Army, because this is the Gemius Army watch. It's not Swiss Army. I'm not saying it's trying to look like a Wenger Swiss Army watch. I think the logo on this is similar in a lot of ways to a Wenger Swiss Army watch, but I'm not saying it's a copy. Can't get this little tab out. There we go. There we go. Goes flying off. Now let's see if we can get this sucker to run. Man. I don't know. It's not running. So I had the plastic tab in there to pull out the watch crown to keep it from running, but I can't actually push the crown in. And it's clearly not running. Let me slam it on the ground a couple times here and see if I can get it in. Okay. Actually, one slam on the ground. Sorry, I forget my fingerprints all over it. Was able to move it in. Now I wonder if I can get this sucker out. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, now it's working. So when you buy this watch, just remember, you're gonna have to take out the little plastic piece and slam the crown on the ground. That'll get it in. But it does run. So for under $5, there's always little quirky things. A couple things that I will throw out right off the bat is, let's talk about the construction of the case. It is kind of an olive drab green. I would actually maybe not use the word drab. It's fairly shiny. It's polished, and it is, kind of a foliage green. It has some molded in negative spaces here, so it kind of looks like a gear wheel up top, but they are angled, so you don't have to worry about them catching anything, and the watch feels pretty good. It's a little bit of an optical illusion because it makes the watch case look pretty big, and even though the watch itself is fairly small. I don't have calipers on here, and I didn't see an advertised number, but let me get you a measurement. Okay, so a quick measurement shows that from this side to the edge of the crown protector protrusions here, the lugs that stick out, it is 42 millimeters. From crown or from case side to the other case side, just the outer part of the circumference here, it's 39. So, keep that in mind. If you're buying this watch and you want a different size, then get a different size. I also don't think paint holds up really well on watches that are meant for extreme use. And I don't see anywhere where it's flaking off. Usually in the sharp edges is where you'll start seeing it. But, it's kind of like a little bit of a toy. The back is just a stainless steel press-on backing. And, the lugs curve down a little bit. Just kind of, it reminds me of the material they make Matchbox cars out of, or Hot Wheels. The body is kind of like this cast metal, alloy, and then they paint them. That's really what this is like. The crown is silver there, and the face looks like Swiss Army watch. And I actually have a real Swiss Army, and I'm not saying it's trying to mimic Swiss Army. I just pulled this one out for giggles, and you can see the logos are a little bit similar, and this one is small, and they're pretty similar. But I'm not saying they're the same, and I'm not saying it's a knockoff. The face is a metallic green. The green is a pretty close match, but it's just a little shade off, in my opinion, and it's shiny. The numbers and the markers that are silver are all kind of pressed into the dial. It's just a single piece. These subdials are just fake. There's no pushers to indicate that they are, it's a working chronograph or anything like that. And then the bezel is actually kind of geared as well, with these little protrusions for these little lugs where the painted on hour markers go. So there is a lot of detail. There's a lot of depth to it. Probably a plastic or glass lens on there. but a watch you can knock around. Now, let me show you the band here. It's canvas, it's nylon, it feels pretty sturdy. It feels actually much sturdier than the cheap PU leather ones that you get. I don't think this would tear apart under stress. What I don't know is how good the stitching is that holds it together. Kind of like backpacks, I have very little problem with the material backpacks are made out of, but where the seams are is where kind of backpacks shine or fail, because either they'll start pulling apart or maybe the zipper will break and things like that. So the material is fine, but I noticed that there's just one line of stitching. The other thing that's a quality control issue is that the top and the bottom piece of it are stitched just a little bit off. So you can see the bottom here, but you can't see it on this side because on this side it's just a little off, and the top and bottom are sticking out a little bit. So instead of being perfectly lined up, you've got them just a little offset like that. That is true for both the top and the bottom. You can see I've got a little bit of the bottom showing here and none showing here because the top overlaps. So, you know, not a big deal. In the sub $5, or in this case I think it was a sub $4 price point, it's what you expect. Two retaining loops here. The first one is sewed in, which is nice because it keeps this free-floating one on and prevents it from falling off. A very thin standard buckle. It is kind of what you'd expect in this price point. Quartz movement, I like it. It's can't tell if it has loom. I'll tell you if it does. But a little bit of that Rolex secondhand with the pip on it. I'm not saying it's Rolex, but it kind of reminds me of the Rolex secondhands. And then what's also nice is on the long end of the band here, they do have the holes are riveted in. One, that's nice because it keeps it from fraying, especially when you have the buckle in nylon or Cordura like this. It tends to kind of be a point of focused wear that kind of can shred those. So that's kind of a nice detail. Secondly, it just makes it more precise. Now, again, I'm not making any promises as to how long these will last, and in fact, I can see a little bit of daylight through them, and I can pop it out. So there you go. And I can pop it back in. So there doesn't seem to be anything on the back side of them that's pressed in, kind of like a real jean rivet that would have two sides of the rivet. Just keep it in mind. Just keep it in mind. So anyway, pretty cheap watch. Looks like a Swiss Army, but it's not. And it's green, really green. Peter Von Panda for the Gemmiest Army. Military Aviator Army Outdoor Style Watch. Out!